Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest edition of the Social Media Power Chat. I'm your host, Mia Voss, and I have so many people on here. I'm only going to clap once. You guys know how I love to clap. Here it comes. Today is the healthy version of the Social Media Power Chat. I got to read all my peeps here. Jean Layton, gluten-free doctor. Lori Shemek, health expert for #1 ABC show Good Morning Texas. Susan Irby, the bikini chef. Hot. Bob Choate, representing with all his ladies here, and Dr. Yoriko Todd joining us from Tokyo up at 2 a.m. or is it 3 a.m. your time, Yoriko?
2 a.m., yes.
It's 2 a.m. I'm assuming, since this is the healthy show, that, okay, somebody's got a window open, I can hear it. I'm assuming that nobody's drinking Red Bull because you're also healthy. I know personally I've got my chlorophyll water trying to keep my red blood cells. What's everybody drinking over there? Let's hear all the drinks we got going on.
Water.
I've got water and my grapefruit.
Nice. What you got, Bob? Oh, water. He's got himself muted. He's afraid to say anything. Look at this. And now, as part of my show, which you guys know I love, let's look at some of our guests that are here in the audience. Lena Bate Johnson, she says she's ready to roll with her hot lemon water by her side. Excited to hear about all the healthy living. Mia Voss and Company.
Love
girlfriend.
lemon water.
Yes, that I've done some good healthy cleanses before and always started with lemon water in the morning. Catherine, I'm going to say it wrong, Coda, who was on another show the other day, armed with almonds to watch all this. How healthy am I? Powered up. You know I'm back crap crazy for you. Hey, girl. That's awesome. Do you guys have anybody you want to shout out that you know is in the audience? Just pipe right in.
I don't know right off the top of my head.
Not all.
I'm not sure.
Okay, well, listen, if you guys are, I want you guys to start shouting out. You know all these people have great things to say and are going to give us some healthy advice. So as part of the show, you know, I was saying that this is the start of the eating season. My guest last week actually said she thought it started on Halloween. I think she's right. So, you know, everything is full of sugar, high fructose corn syrup, gluten-free. Who wants to start off with what they are talking with their audience about how to survive this season without blowing up and blowing away?
That's a loaded question because we all have a lot to say, I'm sure.
Yes, yes.
I created my holiday survival kit already, so I have some tips in there to survive the holidays, and not just about the healthy foods, but as Lori and Bob and I are talking about, you know, avoiding the sugar. But one tip that I love for the people that can't stay away from the sugar completely is if you're at a party, get a group of your friends and just each taste one little bite of each dessert and then vote on which one is going to taste the best and then share that one.
I like it.
That's good.
That is good. Oh.
Yeah.
You make a party out of the party.
Well,
Yeah.
I think I know for myself with it being, this is my favorite phrase to say. Mama loves her groceries. I love my food. I pack it in. People are always like, "How?" Keep your hands and feet away from Mia when she's hungry. So, do you also suggest maybe before parties, kind of getting your grub on a little bit beforehand, so you're not showing up just completely starving?
Right.
Especially if
Absolutely.
you're gluten-free.
Yeah.
If you're
I recommend
gluten-free,
an apple at least.
I was
Yeah,
going to ask
you
you.
know-
I've heard that too. Eating an apple, it's fiber and water,
And
right?
it's filling, right. But what I like to do is I have my clients really load up on some protein and healthy fat before a party, for example. And when you do that, the temptations are just very minimal, really, because protein is satiating and so is that healthy fat. Really, really good tip.
What would be a good protein source?
Any lean protein source, like a cheese stick about 20 minutes before you go to the party, and a little bit of some avocado, say, would be a good combination. Anything, even protein by itself, is really going to serve you well.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome. Who else
yeah.
who else has their favorites they want to shout out of what they love to kind of load up on beforehand?
I tell people to carry almonds everywhere. They're
And I just
portable.
have to shout out, Craig Fifield says he's got his large bag. He cleaned up his act. He said something else. He said nutsack last week. Large bag of walnuts and almonds. And then I said it, and now I'm saying it again. He's a huge
He
fan
started
of,
something, Mia.
he totally did, and he posted a picture of it too. Lynn actually posted a picture of some strawberries. She's so good. And I know that Craig is a huge fan of all of you. He has been on a gluten-free diet. He came on my show a couple weeks ago, and he sort of plays around with a lot of different things. Not necessarily, I don't know if it's out of necessity, just to see what makes him feel healthy, which I love. I love that too. Do you guys have any suggestions on that? I mean, I know we can talk about people who specifically have the gluten intolerance, but for people like me, I don't have an intolerance, but there's certainly I feel a lot better when I cut a lot of the junk out.
Well, yeah, a lot of the food that we eat has a lot of that wheat, for example, that modern day wheat. And that modern day wheat really does create havoc, in our digestive tract. And so when that happens, we may not, connect the dots about, say, we feel bloated. We can never get rid of that bloating, or, we have a little bit of digestive disturbance, or our skin is a little dry. But a lot of times it's because of that modern day wheat that a lot of us are eating. That's the problem.
That now you're bringing up a specific phrase, because it is modern day wheat. Where when it was grains and vegetables, it was before things were GMO or whatever's cray is going on with
Right.
all of that. So Yoriko, can you talk on that one too? And kind of like, I love that phrase on modern day wheat. It's a huge distinction, right?
Right.
Well, and the fact that it exists in every product.
Yeah. Talk
Yes.
about, and this is what I learned from
Dosage
doing.
is huge.
Right? I mean, so I bet all of you preach being a label detective. Is that correct?
Yes. Be a label reader. Yes.
Right.
I think you have to empower yourself, right? And with that, I mean, so give us some advice on that, because I think you can't rely on just what's being told. You really have to look at every single thing.
Well, you do.
Know
You
your
have to
top
look
twelve.
at, yes, you have to read the labels, but you also have to do your research online of something, especially like if you're gluten intolerant and things like that. But also, I think we also, these days, it's very important to source the foods that we're eating, so it's not enough to just buy the produce and take it for granted that it's organic or this, or that. You really have to ask the questions and be your own researcher, even if it comes down to asking questions of the local produce guy in your market, which, quite frankly, they don't always know the answers, which is unfortunate. So
You're right.
They don't. I will say, when I did, who did I go to? We've got Whole Foods here. We have Sprouts here in Colorado, actually, which I love. And I will say, I found a guy at Sprouts again when I was going through the cleanse, because I didn't realize that my coffee and wine addiction were coming back to kick me in the face. And I had to go talk to this guy, and he really helped me with things like turmeric and like some bentonite clay and things like that. And I just was hugging him every time I go in there, like, please help me. I'm a hot mess. We've got a great question from the audience, and I want to start and have each one of you answer this, because this is good. But first, I have to shout out. This is from the Craft Star, by the way, who is one of my show sponsors today. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to pop up the question. She says, it's hard to eat healthy when you work 24/7. Holla, right? What are the 3 things you should be eating daily? And I'm going to start with Yoriko on that. What's your answer on that? What 3 things do you think our guests should be eating daily?
Yes, tomatoes.
Okay.
Yeah, and also something in the cabbage family, broccoli or cabbage. You can just wash them and just crunch on them. And I would say some sort of nuts.
Gotcha. And then, of course, as everyone was saying, the sourcing of it as well is super important, because you do want to find that source, right? Everybody's shaking. I love it when I get the head shaking now across the board of it being organic. So thank you for that. And then, Susan, what would you say your top 3 are?
my top 3, my go-to for a healthy diet, back to that apple a day. That's been my go-to food for years. Almonds, and lean protein, whether it's free-range chicken or turkey, something, or fish. Salmon is my favorite.
Nice. That sounds good to me too. How about you, Lori? Give us your top three.
Yeah, I don't like to give specifics, but what I like to do is to tell people to add one superfood to every meal, and to also make sure they get a lean protein at every meal and a healthy fat. And you're good to go, because once you do that, you're balancing the blood sugar, and that means that you're reducing that low-level inflammation, and the cravings and the hunger and the optimal health start to happen, and it's all good. So, yeah, just, superfoods like, very healthy berries and
I was gonna say, like blueberries, right, and things like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Berries are really good for you. In this time of year, we have pumpkins, we have squash. Those are super good for you. Anytime you can add, leafy greens to a meal, you're good to go. So always focus on something in your meal that's going to take you to optimal health.
I love it, Miss Jean.
And then don't slather it with a high-fat sauce.
Ranch
dressing.
dressing.
So no cheese sauce.
Yeah, don't slather
no
it
cheese sauce. Damn it.
No cheese sauce.
Sorry.
No ranch.
You can have some cheese sauce because that's your protein. You just have to make it yourself from organic cheese. That's all.
Very true. Bob Show, our lone wolf in the group, although Tom Coleman is here too. What do you have to say, brother?
We can't hear him.
He's muted.
Bob can hear. Bob's listening to his own voice.
So I would want people to have the colorful rainbow of vegetables. I don't care what you're eating, but eat the rainbow. You don't need to, stay in season.
Yeah.
So up here where I am, it's pumpkins right now, it's squash, it's kale, kohlrabi, rutabagas, turnips. That's what we've got where I live. And eat all of them, pick the colors of the rainbow, and you'll be good to go. And then go grass feed your meat. All of your meat should be from animals fed grass, not green.
That's good. Very good, yeah.
And there's so many different ways we can take it, you guys. I mean, we all know it. Oh, we lost Bob. Bob, come back, Bob.
Oh, no.
So, Bob,
did we scare him? We scared the head off.
I guess we scared him with all the great, all those greens.
It's girl power.
I think he thought it was the vagina monologues, and he just couldn't figure out word and edgeways. So, no, we want Bob on here, too. He's got something to say, so hopefully he'll...
Yeah, watch him come back after that statement.
I know. Come on, step on the stage.
Mia, I have something I'd like to add, if that's okay.
Yeah, please do. Everybody just pop in. I appreciate it.
Well, we're talking about, adding the greens and foods like that, and the perception is that those foods don't taste good. And a lot of them, if you're not accustomed to eating them, for someone who's new to a healthy diet, they might not taste good. And there are ingredients that you can add, because you mentioned turmeric earlier, but you can, cumin, cardamom. So really, spices bring a lot of health benefits to the table, to your dishes, and they also add that great flavor. So those are ways, and they don't add, I think a lot of times it's easy for people that are not accustomed to eating healthy to just add in, as we mentioned, the high-fat cheeses and things, but you don't really have to do that, and the cheese really doesn't add much flavor to it. It actually kind of detracts from the vegetables. So just layering it with anti-inflammatory spices and spices that boost the metabolism, those are great ways. They make the foods taste good, and they're going to make you want to go back and eat them again. So cayenne pepper, cardamom, cumin, turmeric, those are a lot of my go-to.
There's your
spices.
fun go-to spices. That is such a great distinction that you can add these different things in. Now, the important thing too, and you guys can all pipe in on this, is that we all need to figure out what works for us, and then go to figure out the sources. So if you do have a dairy problem, then clearly you need to go, you just need to pick and choose from it and then see what works for you. I've got a really good question in here. Sorry, I have to, and Bob, I think you're muted, honey, so I'm mute, and then we'll hear from you.
Yeah.
This is from, there he is. Hi, honey.
There he is.
He wasn't scared of my my comment that I made.
I told you he'd be back after that one comment.
I know what I was about to say.
I just had it. Now, can you hear me at all?
We can't, and then I want to take a question. Go ahead, pipe in. Say we can't. Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah. I like to go back. You were talking about the different foods and everything, and as Lori knows, that I'm really into the paleo aspect in terms of fitness. Now, I would go out and do some hunting and gathering, hunting for wild foods and like dandelions and going out into the hills and everything and gathering berries and such. So, and I'll go out and I'll do miles of hiking to do that and get fit.
I love that. That's fantastic. That's Bob throwing in the fitness part. We've just been talking about about getting busy and getting active, and I want to pipe in on that. But let me throw this in real quick. This is from Adriana Langston, because this is a good question, and I do a lot of juicing as well. So she says, are the health benefits from eating tomatoes or nuts or something? Are there health benefits from eating tomatoes, nuts, or something from the kale, which I love kale? Or are the benefits still there if you drink them, like in a smoothie for breakfast? I'm asking because I heard that when you blend certain things, you break down the fiber in them to such an extent that the fiber is not pulling anything out of your digestive tract. Good question. Jump in on that one. Anyone?
Depends if it's a smoothie or a juice.
That's right, because you can use a juicer.
If it's a smoothie and you leave it all in there, you're still getting all the benefits.
Like a Vitamix kind of thing, right?
Yeah. With one proviso. If it gets hot, you start to break down vitamin C.
Okay.
And also, too, you cannot get rid of the fiber. So if that's an issue, a concern, don't worry about it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, as long as it's a smoothie, you're not.
Well, and I had to learn the hard way through juicing because I was, when I first started juicing, y'all will laugh at this, I didn't realize I was throwing in the soft stuff and it was just shooting out the back of my juicer. I'm like, all right, that didn't help.
Gosh.
Do you know what I mean? And so then I finally was like, okay, duh. So I would juice the harder things. Hey, I'll out myself of acting stupid. I was juicing the harder things, so the carrots, the tomatoes, and then taking things like parsley, which I love, and the kale and the spinach, and putting that into a blender, like juicing it from the juicer, and then putting that all into a blender. Do you guys suggest that too? Because that seemed to work for me to keep all the good stuff in there.
Yeah.
Yes, I do think it's great. We were just trying to make some juice today, if you can see.
Oh, look at that.
Oh,
Get it, girl.
And
look
some
at that.
apple and some citrus and carrots. We have this is my mom's recipe. We have the apples and the carrots. And we also put a citrus in so we don't break down the vitamin C.
Okay.
We have some bananas. We always take off the very tip so that we get rid of the pesticides where it usually accumulates. So we take off about half an inch of the bananas here, and kind of put them in, and put the apples, the citrus, the carrots.
Is there enough for all of us?
I know. Like I got my glass right here.
Well, I'm gonna drink some of my water now.
Now we're all like, "Brr, I want some."
You said
look at that.
Nuts are good. Nuts are good, and sesame seeds are very good, but you have to crush them. So we have this grinder with it.
I love black seeds for the same use.
Yes.
And chia
seeds. Chia seeds. I love chia seeds.
Oh, chia seeds and hemp seeds too. Yeah.
Hemp seeds are fabulous. They break down so completely, and
they
change the mouth feel. You know, that's one thing with a lot of the
some probiotic in.
Oh, she's doing probiotic. Nice. I have my cat Bob on probiotics, by the way. He's the one.
Oh, that's awesome. Really?
It's very organic.
That's smart.
I don't know if you know about my essence.
Lynn said she's juicing right after this.
Yeah, we're all look at this. Oh, that is fabulous.
We also have some oops. This is already open. We have some this is some green stuff. It's wheat leaves.
And probably from a natural source, right?
Yes. It's all organic. It's been tested for any pesticides.
Gotcha. So seriously, this is killing me. Once you blend it up, it's going to kill me. It looks like it's going to be the best sludge ever.
and it,
And
I didn't
again-
realize we were doing cooking demos. How
Oh,
fun!
I know you're a good.
Yeah.
There you go,
Of course, yeah.
Susan.
I know.
As
Susan.
somebody mentioned that you need to keep it cold because
Okay.
the vitamin C will break down. So we put a little bit of ice in.
Is everybody loving this?
Loving it.
Yuriko, as soon as
Loving
it's
it. You got a
digester, I want
powerful
you to.
blender.
Yeah, I know. I want one of those Vitamixes. Who has a Vitamix here, by the way?
I do.
I
I love it.
Bob, do you have one?
Hmm.
Bob Cho, do you have a Vitamix?
I do not.
Oh, Santa
Um,
Claus is coming to town soon, so you better bring me one too. I'm just saying. All right,
They're
Yuriko,
so good.
bust it
So
out.
good. Yeah.
Oh, and I've got a couple. Everybody is going nuts in the comments here, so we're gonna have to get to that. Oh, English says her cheats would be wine and chips. By the way, I hear you on that one.
Wine and chips.
Wine and chips.
Make sure they're at least baked chips, please.
Yes, well, the baked kale chips, right? Aren't
Yeah.
those awesome?
Yes.
Oh, I think we just
Also-
let
You know-
Yuriko when she was
And
doing
if she's
Debbie.
going to make her own chips, it's okay because you're
Yeah.
only going to make so much. You're not going to deal with the mess.
Right.
Yes.
So,
Oh,
You know,
look
go
at.
back to real organic potatoes and really good fats.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And taro chips. Have you tried taro chips?
Oh, those are
love
fantastic.
the carrot
they're
chips,
so good.
and then when
I
they're
like
on
the
sale.
parsnip ones.
I make
Right,
them
yeah.
actually, and they are just like potato chips.
Oh, I
When
love it. I'm so
You
hungry
make
right
them
now. I can't
if they're
take it.
homemade.
I love it. Hey,
Just
we've got
like
a
kale
question.
chips, all of it.
Yes, we've got
Yeah.
a question from my buddy Phil Kubat. Holla holla. He's here in Denver. What about protein intakes, daily amounts? Are there low-calorie, high-protein foods you can suggest? I know we kind of covered that before, but can you pipe in on that again real quick for Phil?
Well, typically what you like to do is get about a pound, a gram of protein for every pound of body weight.
Okay.
Okay, so a day. It just depends. If you're trying to lose weight, that's a good number to shoot for. And then go for lean sources of protein. Make sure that, you know, your meats are lean cut, that your fish, it doesn't have to be lean because the fat in fish is really good for you. So just, you know, opt for just lean, just make sure your cuts of protein are lean and your cheese is low fat.
Okay. I love
You
it.
know, unless you use a little bit of the high fat, like Susan was talking about, that the high fat cheese, it adds a lot of flavor with just a small punch, you know, a small bit.
Yeah,
I
just
gotcha.
a little bit. A little bit goes a long way.
Right.
But you know, the chicken, the turkey, salmon, those are great. Those are my go-to foods.
Well, and it's interesting to
protein.
go on this one. Is there's so many aspects of it. It's funny because Greg, my boyfriend, came home yesterday. He goes, "Oh my gosh, I watched this video of commercial farming." I was like, "Don't say another word to me." And we're talking about the. Sorry to get into the kind of the cruelty aspect. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and Colorado is so great because we can get a lot of natural sources here, especially for pork and turkey and so forth. So it's interesting. You have to. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, it's okay.
You know, the thing is, though, I think most people need to watch those videos and those movies.
They do. I know well
Just
enough
once.
because it makes my heart. I've watched it once, and I almost did this la la la, and he said another
me
word.
too.
But I was so glad that he was. I felt bad that he had to see that. But I said, honey, now you know why I'm so fussy about my source.
Right.
Of where it comes from. So yes, please get
True.
informed about that as
You
well
want-
because yeah. Go ahead.
You
hon.
want grass-fed and grass-finished meats. Our animals
Yes.
are only supposed to be eating grass. They
That's
never
right.
were.
Yes.
They have no ability to break down grain. I mean,
And
they
that-
can,
thus they
but
get
it makes them
fat.
fat, and it changes the composition of their fats. But
And
if
now
you get
let's-
a grass-fed animal,
Mhm.
that meat has all the omega-3 fatty acids that you want and you need without it being a concern. You know,
And also
then
not
just
just
keep your
that when
portion
it
size
comes to-
appropriate.
Oh, go ahead, Lee.
And also not just the protein aspects, but using grass butter that comes from pastured cows and things like that.
That's right.
And if you're using milks and creams, you want it to be from pastured
Sure.
cows. So
Organic Valley
It
puts
may-
out a grass milk in cartons that you can buy most places these days. So,
Right.
You know,
Very
there's
nice.
no reason for people to not get the grass milk or the grass butter.
I think it's not that they don't want to. I think they don't understand the importance of it, and it does cost a little bit more. So I feel the perception is that they can't afford it. But when it comes to
But it has
making
come
meals
down
at
quite a
home,
bit.
yes.
It's
also when it
slightly
comes to
more
making
expensive, but it's not
Yes.
that big a difference.
Yes.
And you can get Kerry Gold at
Oh, everybody's
Costco.
getting so excited. They're all talking about it. I love it.
And as far as meats, my go-to is bison because bison is regulated
Yes.
here in the United States. It can only be grass-fed, only.
Wow.
And
that's
it's
a great
it's
point,
one of the
Bob. Thank
leanest
you.
proteins that you can enjoy.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I love that.
It cooks beautifully. It tastes like beef.
It's also
most
called
situations.
buffalo for those of you.
Buffalo and bison, yeah.
We say bison here in Colorado because they're pretty much, you drive about 10 minutes
We say
outside
buffalo
of Denver.
here.
Right. About 10 minutes outside of Denver, you can pretty much run into a giant field of, it looks like something out of Dances with Wolves. I love it. So I'm going to segue real quick because of the social media aspect, I want to see, and I'll introduce a funny story. Again, when I was doing a cleanse, the one thing that I learned not to do was to get on Pinterest because I was everything on Pinterest was something wrapped in bacon. The recipes, exactly. But then I had to change I pretty much had to change my search in that to say, really great, healthy things.
I was going to say they have a lot of healthy foods on Pinterest.
Well, they do. It's just that my problem is everything that I liked and put in my Eat This had, 18 ingredients of junk on it. Because again, what do we say? Mama loves her groceries.
I have a great board I moderate called Healthy Food Bloggers, and everybody who pins there understands we're looking for that grass-fed, grass-finished, healthy fats, lower fat contents, organically sourced. So, follow that board. And, there's I don't know, about a dozen of us that pin there. So, and yes, you can still have dessert within that.
You can, and we still have a ton of questions. I'm going to go back to a few here in a second, but I want if each of you, and I'm going to start with Bob, can tell me how you get your message out there real quick on social media, because I also want everybody to know how you broadcast what your important message is out there. Clearly, Bob, you are a big Twitter hooker, and I love you for that. And then Bob, how do you get your message out there for where can people find what you're putting out there for health and fitness? Is it mainly on Twitter? Like, how do you broadcast your message?
He's muted.
I think he's gone muted.
Bob's just loving the sound of his
muted
own
again,
voice, but we can't hear him.
He was excited about the bison.
He looked
I love this. All right, we're going to go to Jean. Bob's unmuting himself. Jean, where do you broadcast your message the most, where people can get these kind of tips? And then we're going to go back to questions.
In the last 6 months, it's moved to Google+, but I'm active on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. I have more boards than I probably should, sliced and diced down so that you can go and pick what you're searching for. There's a cakes, there's everything that you need. But I'm on everything, and it's all Gluten-Free Doctor or GF Doctor.
I gotcha. I love that too. Bob's coming back in again. He's probably muted.
Back.
Hey, Lori, I know that you also do a show, so you probably are able to get your message out there of this kind of thing through just more of a video type of thing, right?
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I'm on Twitter, and so I like to put out a lot of health tips on Twitter, and I've got 2 pages on Facebook, and throwing the stuff out there, and also Google Plus, just kind of getting into Google now, and I have a radio show.
We welcome you in Google. It's going to be a great place for you. And great, but I love that you've got all the different ways you can get your message
and
out
I
there
blog.
too.
And I have my radio show, Ignite Your Life with Dr. Lori, and so there's a lot of avenues that really I really feel gratitude for, because the more people you can impact, the more change we see.
Yeah. Amen, sister.
Yes.
That's a good preach. Bob's back. Bob, we're
I'm back.
Hey, Bob.
And getting to Lori, she's actually looking for anybody that wants to contribute to her blog, her healthy living blog. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
So and by the way, that is my #1 go-to, is that I do blogging and I share it across all the platforms.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
And
talk about broadcasting good info.
Yes, and then every day I will put out my daily fitness tip on Twitter.
Okay. Awesome. And then I would suggest that you take that same thing and start doing that on Google Plus, because now a lot of these people here love the Google Plus, don't we, everybody? So they're going to welcome you and your fabulous info on that too. Okay, and who's next? Miss Bikini Chef, Susan. I know you love Twitter, and you're getting your energy on Google Plus here as well, correct?
I am. So as Bob was saying, everything starts on my website, blog. So it's thebikinichef.com, and I create the articles there, recipes. I have several recipes that I do every week, and then I have healthy lifestyle tips that I write and post every week. And then from there, I will post it. I'll send it out to Twitter, Google Plus. I have a couple of accounts with Google Plus. I have the Bikini Chef account, and then I also have Bikini Lifestyles, which is my radio program also on Talk Radio KABC. That's once a week. So the podcasts are there. The podcasts go out through iTunes. They're on bikinichef.com, bikinilifestyles.com. I've got videos on YouTube. I mean, it's Pinterest. I love social media.
That's great.
You know, look at what we're doing right now. All of us really, I mean, Bob and Lori and I connected at a wellness conference a few years ago, but Tom has brought us all together through social media.
Tom Coleman, yes.
Yes, you know, so really I feel that there's not any one social media. It's a layer. So you layer the Twitter with the Facebook and the Google Plus, and they're all the different markets kind of converge to create this wonderful, expansive world of information. I mean, how fortunate we are that we can all get so much great information now, and directly from the sources.
It is, and I just, you can see if you have the event open, it's just going nuts, and everybody, I just saw a comment that somebody's going to stalk Jean on Pinterest.
I'm on Pinterest too.
Well, when we're done, everyone, I always encourage all the guests to stay, and we've got some more time left, but to stay on the event, and everybody's going to put all their comments and really answer that, because we have a ton. And then Yoriko, I know you, your husband really gets you out there too. We've been talking about Empire Avenue. I know you're on Twitter. Yoriko, where do you mainly get your message out? You do a lot of blogging as well, correct?
Yes, I started a new blog, and mainly I'm going to focus on healthy tips from Japan. What sort of foods are the Japanese eating or used to eat? And I think that would be of interest to everyone. So,
I think of great.
That's unique. Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
And just so you know, Michael just posted the recipe for the. Thank you, Michael, for that.
Yay.
We're all bummed out. Seriously, a friend of mine makes one for me. I just call it the Fabulous Sludge, which is awesome too, especially with the Vitamix. Randy Hilarski, what's up, brother? He's down in Panama with my other favorite woman in Panama, his wife Annabelle. He says that since he left the U.S., he was able to drink milk again. So clearly it's what's going on with the source down there too, right? But you guys think about this whole thing we haven't talked about, and maybe we're considering it as the grain is friggin' corn. I'm just friggin' corn.
It is.
Well, and our animals are fed antibiotics too.
Yeah, I know it.
And they're not fed
corn
antibiotics
is used to create bigger animals. You know, that's what fattens them up. And when we eat grains, guess what? Same outcome.
Oh my God, I never thought. You're right.
Corn-fed beef.
Yes, and you think about it. We got Thanksgiving coming up. Now, I remember back in the 1960s when we used to get a turkey, and a large turkey was like, what, 8 to 10 pounds. That's a large turkey.
That's right.
And now,
right.
Yeah, and now
you're they're like 24 pounds.
Oh,
yeah, crazy.
Amazing.
These poor guys.
And the amount of solution that they can put into the turkey has changed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not just buying the meat; you're buying what they've injected into it.
Yeah.
Which is the best reason to go get a heritage bird from somebody in your local growing area.
Guess who's having heritage?
Yeah, this U.S. 2000 is having heritage, right?
Yeah.
Hey, here's a good question from my brother Lance Fields, my brother from another mother down in in New Orleans, he said, where did it go? He goes, what are great suggestions? What are your guest suggestions regarding good health and alcohol consumption? Good question, because Mama also loves her wine. So what is your suggestions on booze hags?
Booze hags.
What do you say for booze hags?
Well, don't drink until you have food.
Say that again.
Don't drink until you've eaten food.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Very
that
simple.
also helps you socially, right?
Yep.
But in your cocktails, when it comes to your cocktails, instead of I'm more of a wine person, so ditto that, Mia. But when it comes to cocktails, instead of using the fruit juices that come in, you know, the processed ones, the main, but instead of using the bottled juices from the grocery store, make your own fruit purees. So if you want a berry, take raspberries and puree them, and then strain out the seeds, and then use that for your raspberry martini or whatever it is you're making your Cosmo. So use the natural fruits instead of those store-bought fruit juices that have all the added sugar and chemicals and preservatives and those kinds of things. So that's one way. But then also when you're making your cocktails, if you used a flavored-based liqueur, so let's say an orange liqueur, for example, or a cherry liqueur, whatever flavors that you're looking for, then you can get a great flavor just from the essence of the alcohol without having to add, again, sugar and lots of other ingredients. You can just add a lighter mixer like a club soda or something like that, and then that way it keeps from adding those extra layers of sugar, right, Lori?
Yes.
Well, and let's get practical. Doesn't it also kind of cut down on your hangover if you're really boozing it up?
Right,
Yes.
it does. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
The other thing you can use, the cocktail people are starting to use something called shrubs, which are actually fruit-based fermentations that are vinegars. So instead of going into alcohol, they're using a vinegar base with the fresh fruit, and you get the ability to have these amazing mocktails with no alcohol at all, but with all of that layer of fruit that you really want. I was lucky enough to interview Warren Bobrow and Greg Henry on my series of Look at Books, and both of them are having fun blending their own mixtures to be able to have this layer of flavor without the alcohol. And those are what they look to.
That's great.
Yeah. I mean, you get all the benefits of the fruit.
One.
Now, see,
sorry, my brother's an EMT, and he's dealt with too many drunk drivers. And I'm a big fan of, you only want alcohol when you've got something that's going to help you absorb it.
Get it, girl. That helps to absorb it. That's great. Sorry, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, you know, and that'd be perfect for me. I actually quit drinking back in 1979. I maybe had a glass of wine. Like, I think my last alcohol was like 3 years ago. But that would be perfect for me. And piggybacking on what Gene said regarding EMTs, I used to investigate a lot of accidents back in my LAPD days. And I tell you, the drunk drivers, and I think in a lot of cases it's actually gotten worse. So
I think
you
so.
need to
And
cut
that's a
down
great
on that.
reminder for the holiday season anyway. You guys, we're going to segue into
Yes.
public service of, keep it at home or get somebody to drive you. That's really easy to do. We've got Uber here in our town as well. I don't know if you guys have that where you can call and get somebody, or a taxi service. So good reminder on that. But
I live in Hippie Central. And our Uber is somebody with a bicycle who comes and picks you up, throws their bike in the back of your car, drives your car home, and then bikes back to pick up the next person.
Now I can't believe we don't have that
That's
in Boulder. I live about half an hour from Boulder, so I'm sure that's the Uber version. I love that, Gene. Now we're getting a little grain on that one too.
Yes, but also going back to what Gene said about the vinegar. Also, the vinegar really is helpful for your digestive system in general.
Absolutely.
So
Good.
not only
Somebody
do you
asked
avoid
me
the
that.
alcohol, but
So
any
for
fermented
recipes for
food is
shrubs.
going to be beneficial for you. Any
I'm
fermented.
Is it? I'm looking through the comments because I know, like the Bragg's. Somebody. Oh, it might have been Scotty Scowcroft. The Bragg's.
Amino acids.
Amino acids, or just the vinegar. I've got
The Bragg's the spray. Yeah.
Yeah, or just a bottle of the vinegar, and I'm putting that in with warm water. Is that good too? You guys, when would you do that? Is that more of a cleanse type of thing?
It does. It's beneficial in every way. In fact,
I was going to say, yeah.
Balances, it creates more alkalinity throughout your body, and that means less illness for you. It burns fat. It's just great for your complexion, your hair, everything.
Yeah, so it's not just for as a cleanse. It's kind of as an everyday overall health benefit.
Right, and that's what I've heard too. Hey, Yorko, what are some of the health little tips? Like, is it vinegar and water? Like, do you do lemon water? Is there a tea that you're promoting with the Japanese lifestyle?
Rooibos tea is really popular in Japan right now.
Ooh, you have to put that in the comments for sure.
Rooibos?
Yeah. You can get bottled rooibos tea too.
Excellent. And of course, then fish and vegetables, and you have that whole thing going on. Hey, I want to ask you, another one we had was from Craig. Or actually, one of the questions was, are any of you vegan?
No.
I am not vegan.
No.
I have a lot of vegan friends.
Yeah, I have a lot of
so
vegan
now
friends.
1% of our panel
That's an
is
old
vegan.
one, Susan.
Yeah.
I'm a blood type O, and O's want and need meat. So.
Yeah.
I think Tom's a
Bob's
vegan.
diet is more. I think the paleo is probably me. Guys, I was born in the Midwest. I'm contractually obligated.
I'm not a vegan.
That makes two of us, Mia.
Now he unmutes himself.
Right. Yeah. Now Tom's piping in. Well, yeah, he's from the South. I'm not a vegan. That's it. Hey, how about salt intake? I know somebody. I think it might have been Craig. I'm going through the comments here. He says. Yeah, salt is my weakness as well. Absolutely. What's your take on that? I know I use the sea salt, but try and make sure that it has iodine in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has
use the
less
pink
actual
Himalayan.
sodium in it, and the salt that the conventional salt that we get actually has something called sodium chloride, which is really is a chemical, and you really don't want to ingest that. So sea salt is closely mimics actually the blood that the type of the ocean water, for example, seawater, and our blood is that same alkalinity, and it offers minerals, and it's really good for you. But yeah, you need to reduce the salt intake if you're taking in too much. The research is out there now showing that it's complicit in many more diseases other than just heart disease and high blood pressure. Osteoporosis for one.
Sure.
And
also,
also the natural salts, like the sea salt, those are going to have more flavor to them. So, the table salt, yes, they're going to have less flavor. So therefore, you're not going to, you're going to be wanting to use more of the salt because you're not getting the flavors. And also, salt is a flavor enhancer when you're using the natural salts. So it's not just so it does reduce the sodium, but more importantly, it helps extract the good flavors from the other foods, and it also has more of a salty flavor in itself without the extra sodium. So
I like it. Can I tell you one of my guilty pleasures is something called mesquite salt that I've got. Oh my God, I love it so much. It's got that smoky.
They have bacon salt now.
There's that bacon word again.
From your from your health expert. Go for that bacon salt.
There's two kinds of salt, though. There's salt in processed foods, and that needs to be reduced overall across the board. What we add to food it's sodium chloride. That's chemically salt, but there's nothing wrong with some salt. But knowing how much is overall in your recipe is essential. So if you're starting to make a recipe with a box of chicken broth, you got to remember that that's got salt in it.
That's
right. And if you add canned vegetables, that's got salt in it. And if you add, a packaged piece of meat, that
We're getting all
liquid
fired up
that's been
now.
added to
Yeah.
the meat.
Well,
I'm sorry. I'm
let's
just so
get
angry.
Bob.
about
I'm going to let Bob talk.
It goes
Yeah,
back
Bob.
to
Yeah.
label
Now,
size.
now
It's just layers.
Let's get Bob
let
in
me
here.
go. Now let me go on the other side. If
Okay.
you tend to work out heavily and you drink a lot of water, your body's going to deplete itself of salt. I was actually tested 1 year, and my sodium level in my body was actually dangerously low because I had been working out so much, and I went on to this, reducing my salt too much. So one has to be aware of that too.
Okay, that's a good point. Thank you
You're
for
a
that.
workout
We do our-
maniac.
Yeah, he is. Well, look at him. Come on. Hot Bob. We got Hot Bob on the show. No, that's a great point, too. We keep forgetting, we're bringing in that sort of balance of yes, if you're doing the workout. I was doing the TRX workouts, and I would swear like a truck driver for the entire 45 minutes. People didn't want to stand next to me. I will say it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I've never gotten as much results as doing TRX, which is using these resistance bands, kind of. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but
yes, the suspension straps,
cables, and all sorts of things.
My husband wants to put one in our garage.
I'll tell you, you'll cry, and then you'll put on a dress and be like, "I rock." So you have to balance it. Here's a good question. I love this too. Somebody just said, Catherine Coda. Hi, Catherine. Hi, honey. She says, "Do you have any suggestions for someone who doesn't eat meat, dairy, or soy? Sometimes I think I will just turn into an almond."
Quinoa.
I'm gonna pop that on there too. Quinoa, good one.
Sorghum. Barley.
Do they eat eggs?
I'm guessing. Nope. She says no dairy. I'm guessing the eggs might be. I don't know if that's ovo. Is that
eggs and dairy or not? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they're okay. So I'm not sure on that one.
Quinoa,
what do you guys think about
beans, everything like that.
Whole grain sorghum.
Fermented soy, though, is good for you. So if she's staying away from soy because she's heard it's not so good, well, there's processed soy that's not so good, but fermented soy such as natto or tempeh or miso are good alternatives.
Oh yeah. Hey, have you guys heard of spelt at all? SPELT?
Oh yes.
Yeah. That's good too. Isn't that like an old world grain that's been around forever?
It's an old world wheat.
As opposed to the new world. See, I was paying attention.
Right.
That's
ancient
awesome.
grain.
Spelt and farro, and it's an ancient grain. I did a series called The Grains of Discovery for Bob's Red Mill, and they're up on YouTube. People can listen to 45 minutes worth of chat from bloggers on each of them.
That is perfect. And listen, there is so much going on here that's so good that I know, and everything's blowing up on the panel, that I want each of you guys to really pop in every single one of your sources that you think of, because as you can see from the audience, we all have different things that, either it's the workout, because Craig was just saying he works out hardcore, so he wants to know how to balance that. Then there can be some of the people, like for me, I have pre-osteo, so I have to do my balance of the diet plus, weight bearing and things like that.
And
so
reduce the salt.
Damn it. Okay.
Yeah.
I know. Coffee's not good either. It's a balance for it too.
Yes,
I agree.
and a pre-osteo, if you start doing more of the plyometrics kind of workout, studies have shown that it actually will help your bones to actually stay healthier.
Yes, and that's what I've heard. Well, I did a lot of research. I think some of you guys knew I had part of my thyroid removed a couple weeks ago.
Oh, no.
And you know what? I feel awesome. I had a great surgery, and they took the crappy part that had a lump on it that was, but they left all my parathyroid. So I'm really paying attention, to the diet on that too. But I think for a lot of people, pay attention to diagnosis and really, just tailor make it. So now, what do you guys think about? Do you offer any kind of like dietary services? Like, what do you think about that for people? Everybody that has questions, like going to someone and saying this and this and this is what I have. What do you suggest for me? Do you guys? What's your thoughts on that for people to get more of a tailor-made source, so to speak?
The first thing to do is look for somebody who's got some credentials.
Gotcha.
Either a naturopath or a nutritionist or somebody who's been through some nutritional training.
Right.
Don't just go to the guy at the health food store.
Okay, great. Bob, what do you say on that? And everybody just pipe in.
On here. Let me make a suggestion, is that Lori has an analysis. She will work with clients and everything like that, and I've used her, and many other people have used her, and she's taught me quite a bit. So she is my go-to person.
Nice. I think Lori might be your back crap crazy.
Thanks for the plug.
I think she is. I love that. Hey, speaking of which, and then showing this off, this is my back crap crazy. This is our show sponsor today, which is the Craft Star. Do you see my little back crap crazy necklace?
What is it called, Mia?
What is it? Crap crazy. So that is anything that you are crazy about and that you really like. So this is what I had made for me. It says back crap crazy here, and there's my little bat. So shout out for the Craft Star. They're going to be on my show. I know they're going to be on my show next week. Actually, that's going to be a Black Friday.
That's
yes,
cool.
I love that.
I have a little action figure coming with a tiara.
Really?
I'm pretty excited about that.
That is so great. I can't wait to see that.
And this was, I think it was designed by Jamie too. They're going to be on next week, and we're going to be talking about shop big, shop small business. So please tune in for that too. But any other advice on that as far as Susan or Yorko or Jean for finding somebody that can help you figure out the best way to eat and exercise?
I'll be launching an elimination challenge diet come January online.
You're going to do a challenge diet? Okay.
I agree with everybody, but I think you need to do your own research so you can write questions. You don't want to go there.
Amen.
And that talk about empowering yourself again, because everything that we're saying, everybody, we're all our little snowflakes. We got our different composition and what it is that works or doesn't work. So I think you also have to kind of test it out, right?
You do, and also it's important. We can all garner knowledge, right? But most importantly, take action. It's very important. Most people don't. They listen and they go, that's good. I like that. They buy books, but they don't take action on it. And so that's the key.
That's right.
Take action.
I agree. That's I just again empower yourself. So I'm going to start with we're getting to back crap crazy, and because we have so many fabulous people. And Tom, I need you to pipe in because you're the reason why a lot of this came in. So as you guys know, the back crap crazy is the part in the show when each of my guests tells me what they are crazy about. That could be anything from a person, place, or thing, a new product, a new show. It's their chance to talk about what they love. So with that, pressure's on. Yoriko, what are you back crap crazy about?
Well, I recently bought this mini massage machine.
I'm back crap crazy for that too.
Circulation is what's really important. You have to get your blood flowing. So here it is.
Oh my goodness.
So, and you can move it around. I can do my whole body. I don't have to buy a whole chair. But
you're killing me. Between the juice and this,
I know.
I'm gonna be there.
I have to pick up my whole computer.
And so I try to get my circulation going. I think that's the most healthy way to go.
That is an awesome back crap crazy girlfriend, and please post whatever that little thing is. We need to put that on there too. Tom Coleman, you're up. We're back crap crazy for you. What are you back crap crazy for, brother?
I'm going to be on target. I'm back crap crazy about the Savory Spice Shop in South Bend in Charlotte, North Carolina. If you like great food and you like everything that they're talking about here, one of the best things to combine that with are fantastic spices. And the Savory Spice Shop has the best spices I've ever run across. So that's what I'm back crap crazy about today.
Man, and you got the theme going too, brother man.
There you go.
So
that is awesome.
Is it back crap crazy?
No, back. Now, some people say that's crazy, but I like to say back crap crazy. You should hear it when Pio Del Chin says it with his awesome Italian accent. It's my favorite thing in the whole wide world. All right, next up we have Susan. What is your back crap crazy, darling?
Okay, well, first to answer Tom. So, Tom, you're not the only one. Someone else tweeted me recently about that same shop in North Carolina. So that's really,
awesome.
really funny. Yeah. And in addition to being back crap crazy about Tom, thank you, Tom, for connecting all of us. This was so fabulous.
There you go.
I have a few things I'm back crap crazy about. And One is just as we mentioned earlier, the whole social media aspects, whether it's layering the Twitter and with the Facebook and Pinterest and Google Plus, and just able to bring so many incredible experts together to share good health with those who have lots of questions, and then we each can all learn from each other. So that I'm really crap crazy about that right now. And also when it comes to my cooking and recipes, I kind of fall in love with different spices and ingredients here and there. And right now I'm crap crazy for chia seeds. I am.
Nice.
I put them in everything. So I did a wonderful pomegranate. A cranberry vinaigrette that I put chia in, for the holidays. I'm really encouraging people. They're easy, they're powerful little seeds, omegas and protein and all kinds of health benefits, and you can sprinkle them on your salads, in your dressing that you're making for Thanksgiving dinner. So it doesn't have to be all bad. You can get some nutrition punch in there, and you won't even know you're getting it. So
and what I love about those are awesome. What I love about those seeds too, if it's something where you can't eat seeds, like if you have diverticulitis, you can grind those bad boys up too and put them in your protein.
Yes.
All good, right?
And you know what else? If you just put them in your vinaigrette or something, or any kind of liquid, they puff up and they look like caviar. So
stop. Woohoo! This is so good. I'm so hungry right now. I can't take it. This is awesome. All right, Lori, darling, what's your back crap crazy?
Well, can I have two?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
There's too many to just do one.
Anybody who likes chips, there's a brand out there called Bonitos, and they are so good. They're high in fiber. They are they're called Bonitos, but they don't taste like beans. They are crunchy and yummy and addictive, but they balance the blood sugar. They're like 5 grams of fiber per serving, right? And so I love those. And I did some work with the I do some work with the NFL Houston Texans cheerleaders, and I've got them all addicted. So I think there's a run on Bonitos with them. But anyway, the other thing I love, and I mentioned earlier in the show, were our taro chips. So I like to slice up the root, and it's about that big, and you slice it up as thin or as thick as you want, preferably thinner, and you toss it in some coconut oil or macadamia nut oil, not olive oil, because that's a whole nother show. But anyway, so you do that, and you get them nice and crispy, and they are so good. Put some sea salt on there. They taste just like potato chips. Really, 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 really good.
I'm going for
and
that
a superfood.
And listen, everybody, we are going to have all this up on here, too. So each one of these little back crap crazies, we're going to have it on, too. Miss Jean, what are you back crap crazy about, darling?
There's so much.
I know, right?
Right now, I am back crap crazy about a group called Farmster, who is bringing food from the farms directly to the consumers without the middlemen in the Seattle area. And Janelle is really working to get the farmers so that all they have to do is be growing it, and she's the distributor right to the consumers. I love her.
Smart.
So
Nice.
smart. She's doing things like buying an entire crop from a farmer so that they get the money they need to keep going, and it goes right out to the consumers at exactly the right time. I mean, they get it fresh right from the farm. There's no middlemen, so there's no wait time. I'm going to have a Brussels sprout recipe up on the blog later on this afternoon.
Ooh, put that on here too, girlfriend. I love me some.
I will. I'll hook it back in because it's super simple. It's a brassica that's in apple cider, and it's amazing. And for all those people who say, I won't eat Brussels sprouts because they're nasty, this one,
is it.
Everybody eats. So. I have
it.
to admit, my second is I can't believe that Pentatonics actually is coming within a half an hour of my home, and this a cappella group is my daughter's absolute favorites, and I love them, and thank God my daughters didn't fall in love with Justin Bieber.
Just as a quick, yes, you're so lucky. As a quick aside, this is a group. I posted an a cappella link right now for the song Royals, which I love because I love the line, you can call me Queen Bee. Who doesn't love that? And
Yep.
Jean posted a link of this amazing group. Oh my God, it's it's the Pentatonic. So we'll put that link on there too. So she's the cool mom because she's taking her kid to see them.
Fantastic.
So those are two awesome back crap crazies. Let's end with Mr. Bob Choate on the BCC. What are you back crap crazy about, brother?
I am backcrack crazy about natural movement, in general, because I think we've gotten stuck so much about needing to go to a gym in order to work out when we need to be moving all the time, moving throughout the day, getting out into the natural environment, moving your body the way it was supposed to be moved. Do a lot of body weight exercises. People say that, well, you know, I can't build muscle or anything like that, you know, doing body weight exercises. And here I am at 62 years old. In the last 18 months, I put on 15 pounds of muscle. My body fat percentage is 8%. Is all through natural movement. So getting out and doing that kind of stuff, challenge yourself. You don't have to go crazy like me. I do parkour also. Yeah, so I'll run up the side of buildings and then tumbling off and going over railings and all this kind of stuff. So, but it's all about just getting out there, doing body weight exercises, push-ups. You can do that anywhere.
You can. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that is my challenge, is to challenge everybody out there to get out there and just move as much as possible. Take the stairs instead of the elevators. Get crazy in getting movement.
That is such a great inspirational to end on too, brother. We got to get you out here to Colorado. We can take you up to Red Rocks.
Yes.
And run your happy ass up and down that. Oh, it's great. It's one of the a beautiful spot. But you would be the man here.
Are they also climbing rocks too? Because I like to climb things.
No, I got to tell you, you might get in trouble for that one, but it would be worth it to have on video as you get arrested.
I'm all about getting into trouble. Hoorah!
Yeah, it would be perfect for you. So listen, you guys, this was the most jam-packed social media power chat ever. So I want to thank everybody. We've got Bob Choate, Jean Layton, Lori Shemek, Susan Irby, Tom Coleman, Dr. Yoriko Todd. Thank you for that. I got to give a shout out again to the Craft Star for from my fun blingity blang, my back crap bling. We also have Edge Ad Exchange was our other show sponsor today, so we're going to post that. And listen, on this event, we're going to have all this stuff that everyone talked about because it was too much to not repeat it again. Right, everybody? So thank you. Well, that's it for this week.
Thank you, Mia.
Bye, you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Have a wonderful week.
It was an honor.
Yes.
It was.
That. So, Yoriko, can you talk on that one too? And kind of like, I love that phrase on modern day wheat. It's a huge distinction, right?
Right.
Well, and the fact that it exists in every product.
Yeah. Talk about, and this is what I learned from doing.
Dosage is huge.
Right? I mean, so I bet all of you preach being a label detective. Is that correct?
Yes. Be a label reader. Yes.
Right.
I think you have to empower yourself, right? And with that, I mean, so give us some advice on that, because I think you can't rely on just what's being told. You really have to look at every single thing.
Well, you do. You have to look at. Yes, you have to read the labels, but you also have to do your research online of something, especially like if you're gluten intolerant and things like that. But also, I think we also, these days, it's very important to source the foods that we're eating, so it's not enough to just buy the produce and take it for granted that it's organic or this, or that. You really have to ask the questions and be your own researcher, even if it comes down to asking questions of the local produce guy in your market, which, quite frankly, they don't always know the answers, which is unfortunate. So
you're right.
They don't. I will say, when I did, who did I go to? We've got, Whole Foods here. We have Sprouts here in Colorado, actually, which I love. And I will say, I found a guy he cleaned up his act. He said something else. He said nutsack last week. Large bag of walnuts and almonds. And then I said it, and now I'm saying it again. He's a huge
He
fan
started
of,
something, Mia.
he totally did, and he posted a picture of it too. Lynn actually posted a picture of some strawberries. She's so good. And I know that Craig is a huge fan of all of you. He has been on a gluten-free diet. He came on my show a couple weeks ago, and he sort of plays around with a lot of different things. Not necessarily, I don't know if it's out of necessity, just to see what makes him feel healthy, which I love. I love that too. Do you guys have any suggestions on that? I mean, I know we can talk about people who specifically have the gluten intolerance, but for people like me, I don't have an intolerance, but there's certainly time there. I feel a lot better when I cut a lot of the junk out.
Well, yeah, a lot of the food that we eat has a lot of that wheat, for example, that modern day wheat. And that modern day wheat really does create havoc, in our digestive tract. And so when that happens, we may not, connect the dots about, say, we feel bloated. We can never get rid of that bloating, or, we have a little bit of digestive disturbance, or our skin is a little dry. But a lot of times it's because of that modern day wheat that a lot of us are eating. That's the problem.
That now you're bringing up a specific phrase, because it is modern day wheat. Where when it was grains and vegetables, it was before things were GMO or whatever's cray is going on with
right.
all of.
Yeah. You make a party out of the party.
Well,
Yeah.
I think I know for myself, with it being, this is my favorite phrase to say. Mama loves her groceries. I love my food. I pack it in. People are always like, "How?" Keep your hands and feet away from Mia when she's hungry. So, do you also suggest maybe before parties, kind of getting your grub on a little bit beforehand, so you're not showing up just completely starving?
Right.
Especially if
Absolutely.
you're gluten-free.
Yeah.
If you're
I recommend
gluten-free,
an apple at least.
I was
Yeah,
going to ask you.
you know-
I've heard that too. Eating an apple, it's fiber and water,
And
right?
it's filling, right. But what I like to do is I have my clients really load up on some protein and healthy fat before a party, for example. And when you do that, the temptations are just very minimal, really, because protein is satiating, and so is that healthy fat. Really, really good tip.
What would be a good protein source?
Any lean protein source, like a cheese stick, about 20 minutes before you go to the party, and a little bit of some avocado, say, would be a good combination. Anything, even protein by itself, is really going to serve you well.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome. Who else
yeah.
who else has their favorites they want to shout out of what they love to kind of load up on beforehand?
I tell people to carry almonds everywhere. They're portable.
And I just have to shout out, Craig Fifield says he's got his large bag, who was on another show the other day, armed with almonds to watch all this. How healthy am I? Power it up. I'm back crap crazy for you. Hey, girl. That's awesome. Do you guys have anybody you want to shout out that is in the audience? Just pipe right in.
I don't know
guests?
right off the top of my head.
Not all.
I'm not sure.
Okay, well, listen, if you guys are, I want you guys to start shouting out. All these people have great things to say and are going to give us some healthy advice. So, as part of the show, I was saying that this is the start of the eating season. My guest last week actually said she thought it started on Halloween. I think she's right. So, everything is full of sugar, high fructose corn syrup, gluten-free. Who wants to start off with what they are talking with their audience about how to survive this season without blowing up and blowing away?
That's a loaded question, because we all have a lot to say, I'm sure.
Yes.
I created my holiday survival kit already, so I have some tips in there to survive the holidays, and not just about the healthy foods, but as Lori and Bob and I are talking about, avoiding the sugar. But one tip that I love for the people that can't stay away from the sugar completely is, if you're at a party, get a group of your friends and just each taste one little bite of each dessert, and then vote on which one is going to taste the best, and then share that one.
I like it.
That's good.
That is good. Oh. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest edition of the Social Media Power Chat. I'm your host, Mia Voss, and I have so many people on here. I'm only going to clap once. You guys know how I love to clap. Here it comes. Today is the healthy version of the social media power chat. I got to read all my peeps here. Jean Layton, gluten-free doctor. Lori Shemek, health expert for #1 ABC show Good Morning Texas. Susan Irby, the bikini chef, hot. Bob Choate, representing with all his ladies here, and Dr. Yoriko Todd joining us from Tokyo, up at 2 a.m. or is it 3 a.m. your time, Yoriko?
2 a.m. Yes.
It's 2 a.m. I'm assuming, since this is the healthy show, that, okay, somebody's got a window open, I can hear it. I'm assuming that nobody's drinking Red Bull because you're also healthy. I know personally I've got my chlorophyll water trying to keep my red blood cells. What's everybody drinking over there? Let's hear all the drinks we got going on.
Water.
I've got water and my grapefruit.
Nice. What you got, Bob? Oh, water. He's got himself muted. He's afraid to say anything. Look at this. And now, as part of my show, which you guys know I love, let's look at some of our guests that are here in the audience. Lynn Abate Johnson, she says she's ready to roll with her hot lemon water by her side. Excited to hear about all the healthy living. Mia Voss and Company.
Love
Girlfriend.
lemon water.
Yes, that I've done some good healthy cleanses before and always started with lemon water in the morning. Catherine, I'm going to say it wrong.